the amazing Rico Brogna podcast with your host, Evan Roberts.
It is indeed Rico Brogna, live from beautiful, beautiful Florida at the PGA Resort. They do an amazing job here. As you can see, if you're visually watching this on the WFAN YouTube page, the palm trees, the lake in the background, the pool, and yes, for those that like to golf, the golf courses. So major thank you to PGA Tour or PGA Resort. They do a great job, and I appreciate them hosting us for this beautiful edition of Rico Brogna. We got a lot to do today. We'll talk Mets baseball. They do beat the Yankees in the Fugazi Subway Series. I mean, not really a Subway Series. They played a game. Aaron Boone brought really no regulars, but the Mets did beat the New York Yankees. We'll touch on that, what we saw from the game. You will hear from the manager of the New York Mets, Carlos Mendoza. We'll hear from the manager of the Yankees, Aaron Boone. Good news. We do not bore you with Yankee talk with Aaron Boone. We talked about a couple of things. Actually, you'll be surprised. When we talk to Aaron, you'll hear it later. And for those that have entered the Fantasy Baseball League, the hope of being in the Rico Fantasy League, at the end of this podcast, we will draw 10 names, and you will be in the Fantasy League. I'm going to do it the fairest way possible. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to go through all the emails because they're all in one big folder, and we will fairly select 10 people to join us in the Rico Fantasy Baseball League. That's coming up later as well. I do want to thank everybody that came out to Das Beer Garden. Apologize for the podcast audience. I know the audio quality wasn't great. We are working on it. We are trying to get better every single day. So apologies there. But for those that came out, it was very appreciative. It was a fun time talking New York Mets baseball and really enjoying the beautiful weather of South Florida. A couple of thoughts before we get to – one other thing, and we're going to address this real soon. We had a confrontation with David Stearns. Is that would you use the word confrontation?
We had a very strong conversation.
We had a conversation with David Stearns. David did not agree to come on the podcast, so we don't have any audio of it. But we will have Pete Hoffman try to describe the on-the-record conversation between me and David Stearns that I would say for the first 5 minutes was very heated and was about one subject. What was that subject again?
I can't say his name.
We can't say his name, but he left us to go to Baltimore. So that was cathartic, and I said that to David. I said, this is almost like therapy for me to be able to express my displeasure with the negotiation, with the handling, with everything about Pete Alonso. I think you'd agree it was respectful. There was no name calling. I did address, I said, David, I think I've been fair to you, but I've been tough on you. And he said, what's the meanest thing you've said about me? He did say that. Yeah. And I said, you know what, David, that's a great question. I would say, and I hope the Rico audience can either agree with me or say I'm wrong, but I said to David, the meanest thing I said about you is that we play your press conferences here on the Rico Brogna, and we respond to it. And I said I was very upset with your smile and that I couldn't listen to your voice anymore. I said, and he chuckled. He's like, okay, that's not bad.
That was fair.
That was fair. I said, never wanted you fired or anything, but I wasn't happy. So we'll get into that in a few minutes. I'll let Pete try to describe everything we talked about with David. I appreciate him talking to us, even if he didn't agree to come on the Rico or WFAN. I'm disappointed in that. I'm not going to lie, but it was good to have a conversation, and we'll do our best to try to transcribe the conversation between me and David Stearns and Pete and David Stearns. Pete, though, took a very interesting avenue. Pete decided to bring up all the things he agrees with David Stearns on. So he's like, I'm so glad you got rid of Brandon Nimmo. And I'm like, seriously?
Well, we'll get into it because his answer was very respectful. It was, we didn't get rid of Brandon Nimmo. We gained Marcus Simeon.
Yes, that's the way he phrased it. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. A couple of quick thoughts from Mets Yankees. Freddie Peralta was on the rubber, and he got rocked in the first inning. I mean, let's just be honest about it. A.J. Ewing almost made that incredible catch in left field. If you consume the game, I'll describe it for you. It was a deep fly ball to left field off the bat of George Lombard Jr., who, let's be honest, looks like the real thing. And A.J. Ewing tried to make this leaping catch in left. He couldn't make the play. It bounced away from him. It turned into a triple. He gave up the rip base hit to Spencer Jones. He did give up a blue base hit that allowed the second run to score. But credit to Freddie, and I guess this is the beauty of an ace. He locked down after that. Like, he looked really good in the second and third inning. So Nothing bad. I mean, I don't want to go crazy about spring training one way or the other, like good or bad. But Freddie Peralta, I think overall did his job in this game against the New York Yankees. Carson Bench had 2 more hits. One of them, I still haven't seen the replay on it. It was a ground ball towards second base, and it looked like it fooled Zach Short or something odd happened, and it was weird. And I'm not sure if this happened for the TV audience because this game was on TV on Pix 11, if I'm not mistaken. I went on my MLB app and quickly went back to see, like, what was that play? What happened? It was ruled a hit. And it went to commercial. So I'm not sure if that was a thing that everyone experienced watching it on TV or not. But Carson Bench had a few more hits, which was nice to see. I've said this before. I really believe he's going to be the right fielder for this team. I think he's going to make this team. He continues to have productive at-bats. We saw him in center field, which I think is a sign of things to come. Their handling of Luis Robert Jr. tells you that he's not going to play every single day. I think we talked about this with Mendy. I'm trying to remember because we talked to Mendy with it recording and then a little bit after it. But I think we pretty much touched on the whole center field situation. By the way, it is incredibly windy, and I hope the audio quality is good because the audio quality at Das Beer Garden wasn't good. So you tell me, is the audio quality okay?
And you definitely hear the wind a little bit, but it's nothing like last.
Okay, but is it good? Are the people able to listen to this podcast today?
So far, I've got a thumbs up on the audio.
Okay, all right, good. I'm just making sure. The beautiful thing about a live podcast is, and I tell Pete this now, you can see the feedback, and if we need to change anything to make it better, we'll do our best. Obviously, doing an event at a bar where it's really me and Hoff putting it together, credit to Pete, like it's us. We don't have high-paid engineers helping us out. So it's the Hoffman and Robert show. And so we do the best we can. But anyhow, I don't think Robert Jr. is going to play every day. Like, I think he'll play a lot. And obviously, hopefully he stays healthy. But even if he does stay healthy, you can tell by their handling here in spring training that it isn't going to be an every single day thing. And so Carson Bench moving over to play center field in this game against the Yankees, obviously that matters. We saw Polanco play first base, did not get a lot of action over there. Same thing with Bo Bichette over at third base. Didn't get a lot of action over there. Alvarez had 2 hits. Beatty drove the ball to left center field, which I know you're very happy about. So Brett continues to look good. He was actually a DH in this game. We talked about this on the Das Beer Garden, Rico. We had a listener who is very passionate saying Beatty cannot DH because defensively he's a plus. And I do agree with him. And I think more days than not, Beatty isn't going to DH. I think we're going to see him a lot at first base, maybe some in right. Like, I guess the idea of Robert Jr. sitting twice a week would open up that possibility. But you see the versatility, and I appreciate that about Brett Beatty. I mean, he really is becoming like an incredibly versatile player. The joke after the McNeil trade is we'll start calling him Brett McBeatty because he could kind of fill that McNeil role. And Met fans, let's not view Jeff McNeil in some negative light because he really isn't. He was not a negative player. Like, he did bring a lot of value playing multiple positions. Outside of that, you know, Tyrone Taylor had a good game. Christian Pache had another hit as he's trying to vie to make this team. Pitching-wise, I got to get this off my chest. Then we'll get to what David Stearns had to say. We have no rules in spring training. We have no rules. So in this game against the Yankees, Carl Edwards Jr. pitches. He comes out of the game. He comes back in the game. We have a re-enter policy in spring training. I'm telling you, when I was a kid, that never happened. And then yesterday in Jupiter, I brought this up to Hoff. It was the geekiest thing ever. But I forget which pitcher it was. It was a pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, so who cares? He gets the final out of an inning, comes back for the next inning, faces one batter, and comes out. Now, the 3-batter minimum rule is pretty simple. You have to face 3 batters unless you end an inning. If you end an inning facing 1 batter, come back for the next inning, you have to face 2 batters. You don't get like, well, you finished the inning. That's okay. And so the Cardinals cheated the 3-batter minimum. And the reason I guess it's not considered a cheat is because it's spring training and we have no rules. That is my interpretation. And I got to tell you, it pisses me off. I don't know why. What? You think I'm crazy for that pissing me off?
It's spring training. Like, what are we doing here? It's not a big
You're mad
deal.
at me?
Yes. Not everything is. It's like practice for the real thing.
But it's supposed to be a real game. You're supposed to follow the real rules. All right, I'm not going to harp on this. Just saying. We saw.
You didn't score today, so today didn't even count.
That is true. Yeah, my tradition now when we do these Ricos in spring training, obviously one tradition is terrible audio from Das Beer Garden. though they're great hosts. And if you ever are in the area, come on down. And my other tradition is we go to a game Saturday, I score it, and then we go to a game Sunday in Port St. Lucie, and I don't score it, which is a rarity for me. And I did notice it's like a problem I have. When I don't score a game, I have a tough time like remembering how many outs there are, what the count is. I find myself looking at the scoreboard all the time. And I think that's why I score games. It's so perfect to keep your, not attention because I'm watching the game, but your remembrance of exactly what's happening. So either way, it's a fun day and it means nothing. That's Hoffman's point. Like, these games mean nothing, so I should not bitch about rules not being followed. All right, let's get to David Stearns. So I'll set it up for you guys. We went early to Port St. Lucie, Florida. I had a nice chat with Carlos Mendoza, you'll hear in a few minutes. A chat with Aaron Boone, a Met-related chat with Aaron Boone, you'll hear about in a few minutes. And David Stearns was standing by the dugout. And so I said to Pete, we got to go over to David. We've seen him 2 years in a row. We had that off-the-record conversation 2 years ago, a briefer conversation this past year. I don't know what he thinks of me. I always have that feeling, does he even know me? Does he remember me from last year? He remembered me because as soon as I walked over, I saw the look like, what's up, Evan? And that's exactly how he said it, like what's up, Evan? And I said, David, I got to ask you a question. And he said, what's that? I said, how come you don't come on our show? Whether it's the Rico or it's Evan and Tiki. And he made a joke blaming Ethan, who does a great job in PR. Blamed him. And I said, David, I have never been unfair to you. I got to be honest with you. And that's what led to talking about Pete. We talked about Pete for 5 minutes. He didn't say anything out of turn. He really didn't want to give much, but he was basically insistent on this point. And I stress this, and I hope Joe B would appreciate this, because I brought up, does it not mean something to you as a Met fan? Being a Met fan, growing up as a Met fan, and his answer was, I'm trying to build a championship team. That's my goal. And sometimes when you do that, you make these unpopular decisions. And he said something, I don't even know if I should repeat this because it was kind of a shot at past administrations. I may have to keep that one out. But basically, you know what? I can do this in a fair way. Maybe others in the past haven't viewed it that way. Like, we get too stuck on homegrown or our guys, and that you do have to make tough baseball decisions. And so, he didn't get into the details on the contract negotiations because I did really try to push him on it. Did they come back to you? Would you have made an offer? How many years would you have gone? Could you have done it last year? Like, I was pounding him with all these scenarios. To his credit, he didn't give me anything other than just the idea of, I'm doing what I think is best for the team. And that's, I can argue it from a baseball perspective, but it's tough to argue that thought, which is, dude, I understand. I understand you're upset. I understand you love the player. I am building a team that I think is best to win a championship. And that's, look, even though I disagree with it, I understand that point. It's a very tough point to argue. So I don't think it ever got contentious about Pete. Do you think it ever got contentious about Alonso, or was it all good stuff?
There's a couple questions he asked where he was like, he didn't really want to go down a road.
He didn't say a lot, to be honest with you, which is why maybe it is a waste of time having him on an interview or a Rico, because, I can pound him all day. You guys know my tone. But if he's not saying anything, then I guess the entertainment value is me just saying it to him.
Which is very entertaining.
Right. Because I said to him, what's going on right now, David, is a therapy session. And he said, not all fans can have that therapy session. I said, I agree. That's why they listen to a podcast. We do the therapy session through us. But he understood how upset we all were. But bottom line is, here's the message. He's trying to build a winner. And as much as at times we disagreed with it, I know some of you guys agreed with it. That's his overall sentiment. But I think what was very important is David Stearns made me a promise. And I am going to hold him to it. And I'm going to announce it today here on the Rico so nobody forgets. We talked about getting the fans on his side. And he even knew we just got to win. And I said, David, you don't understand. If you win a World Series, I'll build a statue for you. And he said, I'll hold you to it. I said, fine, hold me to it. I will build a statue for you if you win a World Series.
And where are you going to put that statue?
Well, I said my basement.
Yes.
And he said he will come to my house at the presentation of the statue in January. For whatever reason, January was the month he picked. I guess that's the least craziest during the offseason. And he promised me he will come to my basement for the statue unveiling and then do, quote, the entire show with you. I guess he thought I do. Maybe he's talking about the Rico when he said the entire show. I would prefer Evan and Tiki. Actually, you know what? I'd prefer the Rico. Nobody wants to hear David Stearns for 4 hours in the middle of January. So he promised me a full Rico Brogna with David Stearns if they win the World Series. Now, I'm going to hold him to it. I also think it's easy. You win a World Series, of course. It's going to be all positives. Joe B will come by and serve him tea. He won't even care. But he did make me that promise, so I promise it to you since David promised it. If the Mets win the World Series, and I'll build the statue, I don't care, David Stearns, full Rico Brogna with us. Now, let's get to you, Hoff. As I'm not having a heated conversation, because it was I was trying to be respectful. He was respectful. I think he respects our fandom. I don't mean my fandom, our fandom, because he understands our anger. Hoffman, who's been very critical of David, starts to kiss his ass by bringing up all the players he got rid of that Hoff's happy about.
Yes.
Explain that one.
Well, because here's the deal. You basically grilled him on everything that I needed to grill him on.
Right.
You talked to him about Edwin Diaz. You talked to him about Pete Alonso. So at that point in time, there's no reason to go down that road. You asked the question that I really wanted was, do you care about the fans? You kind of asked that.
I did.
And he responded.
Look, his answer is, I'm trying to win.
Exactly.
That's his freaking answer, which he is trying to win, even if I disagree with the way he went about it.
Right. So you took all my questions. So I had I threw the curveball. I said, you know what? Brandon Nimmo, great job.
Good job getting rid of him. To which he said, I didn't get rid of him. We added Marcus Semien.
You know what I also told him too? I said, I believe that Devin Williams. I said last May, he's the best closer in New York.
Yeah. So David Stearns and Aaron Boone, who you'll hear a little bit later, both said the exact same thing about Devin Williams. And I've alluded to it as well, that he was very unlucky last year. And both of them really played that up, that he was an unlucky pitcher last year. And look, I think there's truth to that. I have pointed that out as well. There is still a worry that I have about his adjustment. And I know he was in New York last year, and it wasn't all perfect and rainbows. And I said this to Boone. You'll hear it on the interview. I think he's got more pressure closing for the Mets this year than with the Yankees last year. It was very, very different. He was acquired via trade. He wasn't replacing this incredible player who was the best closer maybe in our franchise's history. I think he has more pressure with the Mets than he did with the Yankees last year. And both David Stearns and Aaron Boone were very high on he was unlucky. But yeah, Hoff you're a Devin Williams guy. So
so is he. And he believes he didn't have to change anything. So I'm on board with that.
Yes. Anything else I missed from the David Stearns conversation? I'm trying to remember.
I mean, he was pretty adamant on not coming on your show.
He was adamant on not coming on. Yes, he said it's a scheduling thing.
And he also said this, and I'm not sure if this is off the record or whatever. But
I'm not sure if it's off the record. I'll just say it.
But he did say, he's like, because your point was that it's a therapy session for you, and that to him come on a podcast or a show would be good. But he's like, I can connect with you, but I can't connect with every single individual Met fan right now that's not happy. So that was his big thing.
He did understand, and look, this is very obvious, and we all know it. They got to win. Like right now, even after this offseason, which, overall turned around, I don't think David Stearns would get a standing ovation at Citi Field. Like if he was announced on opening day, not that he would be, I think there would be mostly boos, and I think he knows that. But he also knows the only way to change that is winning. And that's it. I mean, this team has a chance to win, and if they do, it changes everything.
The other thing was I did ask him about if he feels that going into the offseason and finishing it, if it worked out the way he wanted, if it was a perfect offseason. He said it wasn't exact, but they kind of got what they wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't lined up perfectly, but at the end of the day, they got the
Well, I said there is no perfect offseason. So, look, there was a lot of non-answers from David. We're trying to feed through that, but I do appreciate him talking to us for a good 15 or 20 minutes. I hope it's on the Rico someday after a championship. I'd prefer it be sooner, but it is what it is. One guy, though, who was glad to come on the Rico Brogna, he came over to me. I didn't even have to approach him, is the manager of this team, Carlos Mendoza. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we take you to Port St. Lucie, Florida from a few hours earlier than this live recording. Here is our conversation with Carlos Mendoza.
Is it possible Juan Soto leads off at all this year, Mendy?
Again, everything. How about we do it in spring training?
I'm up for that.
Okay.
My theory is he doesn't want to do it. Have you ever broached him about what he's comfortable with?
Yeah, but I think he's kind of like the left field conversation, like
Right.
whatever the team needs. So every conversation that I have with him so far, going back to last year, which is, what about hitting third? What about hitting second? This offseason playing left field, like it's like, hey man, like whatever the team needs,
Right.
I'm open to it. So if we get to that point, I'm pretty sure he's probably not gonna have any reservations there.
What's crazy is that when you guys first got him, I thought he'd be better in left field just because of how big right field is. Did you guys consider it last year, or was it because of Nimmo's weak arm that it was never a consideration? We can trash him now. He's not on the team anymore.
No, Nemo, he's one of my favorites. So,
Just kidding.
yeah, nothing but respect. No, not really. Again, like I've been saying it the whole spring training, how it happened. It was organically. It was a conversation about the WBC, and before we know it, it's like, all right, let's move forward with this, and that was all to it.
All right, so here's my big question. Last year, at the end of the year, you did the tag team, the piggyback, whatever you want to call it. Will you consider that this year, specifically with Minaya and Senga, because he got 6 starters? Instead of moving someone to the bullpen or going straight 6-man, would you consider the tag team effort again?
Yes.
Nice. That's my guy.
We already have those discussions with pretty much everyone on the rotation as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so depending on where we are on the schedule, off days, there's a really good chance. Again, we got to get everyone.
Yeah.
We got to get through the season.
Knock on wood.
With all of those guys healthy, which they are now, and they're a really good place. But that is something that we are discussing.
So you consider with everybody, because to me it made sense with Minaya and Senga just because of their years.
Well, I mean, you got to talk to all of the people involved, right? I don't think we will do it with a Freddie Peralta or a Nolan McLean,
Right.
But I'm not saying kind of like the route we're going to go, but yeah, I think he's definitely in the discussion.
Because if everybody's healthy, is there any of those guys you'd move straight to the bullpen?
So right now we haven't got to that point.
Right.
But we just having discussions about the piggyback or the tandem, however you want to call it.
I like tag team for some reason.
All right.
Because then you could do like nicknames with them.
Let's keep it that way. Yeah. So, but that's definitely on the table there.
Now with Robert Jr., I get the impression, and I like what you're doing because you're trying to keep him healthy, obviously, but I get the impression he's not going to play every day. Is that a fair assessment that he's going to get like days off per week?
Oh yeah. So my question to you is, what would you consider playing every day? So if we got 10 games, he's playing like 10 of them. I would say, especially with the way we're kind of building him up here, he plays back-to-back or 3 in a row, then he'll have an off day, or depending, or whether you're facing a righty or lefty. And I think he's just kind of listening to him. The goal here is to keep this guy healthy before September comes. He's on the field. Like if this guy stays on the field, then like he's special.
So who would Benj play center, Taylor play center? That's the preferred option.
Well, Bench needs to be on the team first.
He's going to be on the team, Carlos. We know he is.
He's having a great camp, but there's competition there. There's Mike Cotman, and then you got some other guys like MJ Melendez who's not here. You got Jared Young who's not here. So again, the fact that he's playing well, hopefully it's a really tough decision at the end of camp.
By the way, those guys, and I respect what they're doing because they're playing for their country. Does it hurt their chances of making the team when they're out playing somewhere else?
It's hard to tell, and there have been cases where guys decided to stay in camp, and they still went to AAA, and then there's guys that went to WBC in the past, and they were able to make the team out of spring training. So I think every situation is different, every case is different, and we're not going to make decisions based on, this guy left or this guy's here. It's just what's best for the team, and we'll go from there.
Benj and Tachman both making the team is possible, right?
We haven't got that far.
Because Tachman hits lefty, so it's no big.
Yeah, so we haven't got that far.
Right now, season ends, spring training ends right now. Benj on the team or off the team?
We gotta have
I think the answer is yes.
We got to have those conversations.
He's had some good at-bats, man. I listened to what you said. You said it's about the quality of the at-bats.
Right.
His quality at-bats have been there.
Yeah.
Get him out there.
The good thing is that, you look at the at-bats from Tottenham.
Yeah, no, I want both on the team, honestly.
So,
It was up to me.
Yeah, so we'll see. Like I said, there's good problems to have.
All right. Thank you, Mendy. I appreciate it, man. Good talking to him.
Thank you. Here he is, the manager of the New York Mets, Carlos Mendoza. We always appreciate him coming on. Very good dude. Couple of observations. Number one, the tag team's happening. I mean, that is, to me, the geeky headline. It's not the headline because I don't know how many people care, but for you loyal Ricoers who care about every little morsel of the New York Mets, that's our headline. He was so quick to say yes. And then, and we haven't talked specifically about, like, my expectation. You guys tell me, because maybe I'm biased because I want it so badly. And then, of course, I'll probably take credit for it. I'm just kidding. I won't. That answer tells me that's what they're going to do with Kodai Senga and Sean Manaea, that they have 6 starters. They haven't even talked about moving any of them to the bullpen. They're not going to go with a 6-man rotation. Remember, he said a couple days ago, 5-man rotation. I think the tag team is the way they're going to go, and I think it's brilliant. I think not brilliant because it was my thought, because I think it was a lot of our thoughts long before they tried it last year, just because of the possibilities of the extra guys and the fact that guys weren't going deep into games. But it worked so brilliantly with Manaea and Senga for a few reasons. I'll lay them out. Number one, you take the pressure off both guys. You don't have to go that deep into games. Number two, if you have 6 guys and you go 6-man rotation, you're short in the bullpen. You just are. Well, you'll be short in the bullpen, but at least on that 5th day, you know you don't have to use much of your bullpen. Because if you're throwing 2 starting pitchers in Senga and Manaea, and they're going 4, which isn't even asking that much, you just got 8/9 of the game. So I think it saves your bullpen. And look, card's subject to change. Obviously, guys can get hurt or guys can be really good. I mean, if Kodai Senga is dominating, I think that you can change the course of action on a given day or even as the season goes on. So I think there's complete wiggle room with it. But I think coming out of spring training, this is the way to go as long as they're healthy. I would knock on wood if there was wood here. I guess this table has some wood. I don't want to jinx anything. I don't think Mendy wants to jinx anything. But I don't think there's any doubt that that answer tells you that the tag team is going to happen, and I think it's going to happen early, and I am thrilled. I may not get Soto leading off, which we spent a few minutes on, though he seems open to it, more open to it than previous conversations, but I think the tag team is definitely happening. Look, the bench stuff, I still believe he's going to make the team. He didn't fully give it away on that, but I think bench continues to give you quality at-bats, look good in the outfield, the versatility of playing center or right. I feel pretty good about him making the team. And the Robert Jr. thing, he's not going to play every day. And Mendy asked a great question back to me. He said, well, what does it mean to play every day? So I'll answer that here. If you're going to play 6 games in a week and you're sitting twice, then you're the most of the time player. That's how I would define you. I don't think you're an everyday player. And that's how I view their handling of Robert Jr. Like, I think the 3 games to begin the year against Pittsburgh, he plays 2 of them. I think the next series in St. Louis, he plays 2 of them. Like, I think you're looking at a 2 out of 3 kind of player. Now, that's 67% of the time. Is that every day? No, it's most of the time. And what that means is it opens up at-bats and opportunities for other players. That's why Mike Tauchman on this team makes a whole lot of sense, because he's going to play a lot. And I've heard some Met fans say, well, he's not a 4th outfielder. He's an everyday player. Dude, between Benj maybe sitting once a week against the tough lefty, which you could consider, Robert Jr. sitting twice a week, you just get, there's 3 games a week for Mike Tauchman, maybe 2 times a week if you want to get Beatty out there. And remember this about Tauchman. We went over this on a previous Rico. He hits lefties. So I don't want to hear it's too many lefties. Nah. So I'm hopeful those guys make the team. And based on that answer, I do think Robert Jr. is going to sit a lot. So we appreciate Carlos Mendoza coming on. He's always a good spot. Now let's get to Aaron Boone. At first, I didn't want to put Aaron Boone on. This was a conversation on Evan and Tiki. Hoff insisted on it. Tiki Barber agreed. And really the point was you can put Aaron Boone on and not talk Yankee baseball. And I said, you're right. So we had a great conversation with Aaron. I surprised him by bringing up the 1999 Mets and Reds, which means a lot to me. He was obviously on the 1999 Reds, and he gave us his thoughts on the former Yankees that are on the Mets. And I'm just going to warn you, Met fans, he took a shot at us with Juan Soto. I'm not going to say any more other than you can take a listen, but I think Aaron Boone became Sean Morash, because when I brought up Juan Soto, Aaron Boone was douchey. I'm just going to be honest with you, and that's all I'll say. So, ladies and gentlemen, from spring training in Port St. Lucie, Florida, a conversation with Aaron Boone.
For the first time in Rico Brogna history, we are talking to a non-Met person, the manager of the Yankees, Aaron Boone, but he may as well be manager of the Mets because we have like 30 former Yankees. Does that make you very prideful that there are so many former Yankees on the Mets?
I don't know if prideful is the right word, but it's it does seem like they like to go after a lot of our guys. Hopefully, I'll take that as a bit of a compliment.
It seems like you're kind of mocking that a little bit. Do you think it's pathetic that they signed former Yankees that you guys don't want? Other than Soto, because you did want him.
No, because I don't think it's a case of not wanting. I think it's a case of just, you can't keep and you can't keep everyone. And there's obviously competition for people every off season. And I think in most cases it's a reflection of the Mets going after people that are valuable.
I'll get back to the players in a second. I want to go back to the final weekend of the 1999 season. You guys have a 2-game lead with 3 to go. This is one of my favorite weekends of all time because as a Met fan, we needed to sweep the Pirates and we needed you guys to lose twice. What kind of happened that weekend in your mind, Aaron?
All right. So 1999 is the funnest year I've ever had playing baseball.
Oh, okay.
Little league, high school, college, major leagues, minor leagues, whatever. 1999 is the funnest team I ever played on. So we had the long rain delay on the final day having to win. And the Astros, who were game up on us, Kevin Brown was scheduled to pitch for the Dodgers against the Astros. And Davey Johnson did not pitch Kevin Brown in that game. The Astros win, so then we had to win, and you guys had to win. Notice I said you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I just remember the long rain delay. NFL had started, so we watched both NFL games before taking the field. We win that night. We had to win that night. And I'll never forget taking the field the next day at Riverfront Stadium, or it was Synergy at that time. I came to the ballpark like just so confident, more confident than I've probably ever been that we're going to win this game. And then Al Leiter said, no, you're not. And it was over pretty quick. I mean, it was only 5-0, 5-1, whatever the final was, but it was like, it felt like, I think Edgardo hit a homer early.
Ricky and Alfonso got big hits earlier.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, man. And I just remember after that game being just so stunned and disappointed because we had such an awesome team and it was not to be. So a 96-win team didn't get into the playoffs.
Well, it's unique because we're never going to have those things again. They got rid of the 1-game playoff, so
Yeah.
we're not going to see anything like that again.
Yeah, right, to that level, to having
right.
2 96-win teams going at it.
And a regular season game
In
that
a
counts
regular
as a play.
season, yes. So, that's the Al Leiter game. And he shut us down that night.
Now, you've seen Al a lot. Was his stuff different that day? What was the difference?
So when people ask me who did you hate facing the most, my answer is always Al Leiter, or one of my answers. Ben Sheets, Al Leiter, a couple others they'll go to, but my Al Leiter story is, at one point in my career, I believe I was like 0 for 10 and 0 for 11. And I faced him a lot of times when I was going good. And he just dominated me. And then one day in Synergy Field, he hit me first at bat. And I was like, great, I'm on base. And then the next AB, I hit a homer against him.
Wow.
And then right back to owning me. I don't know, the cutter was just chase you in with that cutter, and I don't know. Pokey Reese used to hit him well, and I'd be like, how are you doing? Because I swear I would face him, I felt like times when I was like kind of hot right now, and he would just kind of shut me down.
How would you compare a loss like that as a player? You even said you were confident, which I was surprised about. I figured because you guys had lost 2 out of 3, maybe you wouldn't be. How do you compare the emotions of losing a game like that versus losing a game or a series as a manager? Is it worse, the same?
When you're playing high-stakes baseball and there's a lot on the line and it's the end of the season, it kind of, maybe they're somewhat different, but but the same in the same token. Like, it's the end of a season where you felt like something special could happen. So maybe a little bit different. And at that time, I was my first real full season in the big league. So it's like, you're kind of like, we'll be back here doing this every year.
Right.
And you realize you can't take that stuff for granted.
Well, it took a long time, but the Reds got revenge on the Mets because they made the playoffs this year off a tiebreaker. So congratulations. Did that make you feel good?
Not really.
I figured. All right, with some of these former players, Luke Weaver. So he is the key to one of the big keys to the Met bullpen. And what is confusing to me, and you can help me, is that a year ago, 2024, he's one of the best relievers in baseball. You can get 4 or 5 outs from him. He's a closer. He's great. Last year, great. He gets hurt. Different pitcher on the way back. What was it? Like, he implied that there was something with the coaching staff at the end of the year. I don't know what it was, but you tell me, like, is it fixable, and what was the issue for Luke's second half?
I think it is fixable, and there was a lot of good in there. I just think it's very subtle, the difference between that fine line of being dominant as he was and a little bit vulnerable. Like, it's not, and especially the life as a reliever, it's like, it's, one pitch can wreck the outing. So I would say he absolutely can get back to that level because, one, he's a great athlete, and you watch him pitch, he can repeat his mechanics, has command with the fastball. So it's just getting that fastball, where it needs to be, the right crispiness, the right, getting into the right spots, and then working off of that with the cutter and obviously the changeup.
I thought early last year was one of those opinions that aged badly, I admit, that Devin Williams couldn't handle New York. That was my impression. I think he kind of proved he could. He stays, he goes to Knick games. Was there ever a point early in the year in which you had that concern of, I don't know if he has that feel, especially closing in New York? Was that ever a concern?
Not really. It was, I think we run to that can he handle New York and just chalk it up to if a guy played well, it's because of New York, and if he didn't, it's because of New York. And sometimes it's just baseball. Some guys other places have tough stretches or rough outings. If you remember, he had a baby at the start of the year, so he was away from us for a few days, and then I think just maybe took him a little bit out of rhythm, and then you have a couple rough ones early, and he just had kind of a tough stretch. But like you said, his credit, obviously there was a ton of attention on him all the time, and the struggles early, and to get to where he was by the end of the year was truly impressive, because a lot of it too was unfortunate. There's a lot of unlucky. Like, there were a lot of outings where he blew a save or a tough save where it was like, you go back and watch it, it's like 3-2 pitch, close, ball forward, dribbler, bloop, and then all of a sudden it's a bad outing, and you kind of peel the onion back a little bit. It's like, it kind of wasn't as bad as, even through some of his tough times. And to his credit, he was making 2-ups in the postseason for us and handling that well. And I got a lot of respect for all that he went through, and to still land where he did, by the back end of the season.
I think you guys always have the most pressure, you specifically, and all your players. I actually think Devin Williams has more pressure as a Met this year than he did as a Yankee last year, specifically because he's replacing Edwin Diaz.
Yeah. I mean, that's the game. That's high stakes sports. That's major league sports. That's doing it in New York and at a very important position and a high profile position that the difference between success and failure is you shaking hands at the end of the day or not. So that comes with the territory, but I do feel like he showed a lot of mettle last year in the things he had to go through and ultimately how he came out of it.
Still bother you that Soto picked the Mets over the Yankees, or are you over it?
I think it still bothers him.
What is that? What the hell does that mean?
I'm kidding.
Oh, are you kidding? But you sound like every Yankee troll on WFAN. He misses the Yankees. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Manager?
I guess I did just say that.
Well, no, he's happy as a Met. He loves being a Met. And that's it.
I loved Juan Soto. I still do. he and I have a really good relationship. I obviously loved having the dynamic that he brought to our team. The 1-2 punch that he and Aaron were throughout that year was pretty special, and so he's moved on and obviously going to continue to do quite well.
I don't like what you said, but that's okay. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. Good luck. As a wise man once said, go get him.
There he is, the manager of the New York Yankees, taking a shot at us. I mean, I think we all heard that loud and clear, and I guess I started it by bringing up 1999 and also saying, are you over Juan Soto picking the Mets over the Yankees? And what was his response? I don't think he's over it. All right. I understand. By the way, again, special thank you to PGA National Resort here in Palm Beach Gardens. Beautiful place. You can see it in the background if you're consuming us on YouTube. If you're not, I'll describe it for you. There's beautiful palm trees. There's a hot tub. There's a pool. There's a lake. There's wonderful restaurants. And yes, there's golf. I leave that for last because I'm not even a golf guy. So the golf isn't something I'm doing, but it is a beautiful place, and we appreciate them hosting us on this live Rico Brogna. A couple of thoughts from Aaron, or about Aaron. 1999 was a special year. Hoff said to me right now as we were listening to it, he's like, really? 1999 means so much to you, or whatever you said? It does, because that was the first time I saw the Mets make a run to the playoffs. That was it. That was the first time. 1998, they had choked it away. 1997, they missed out on a pennant race with the Marlins, and then before that, they were hot garbage. So 1999 was incredibly special, and, man, it's funny. 2 games out with 3 to go because they collapsed, because they choked again. That's why they were in that spot, and they were playing the Pirates that weekend, and they needed to win all 3 games. They got a walk-off from Ventura on a Friday, a complete game from Rick Reed on a Saturday, and then, of course, the Brad Klontz wild pitch that scored, or Mike Piazza was up and scored the winning run, and the Reds lost on Friday and Saturday, which got us to a tie, as Boone was referring to. And then Sunday, if the Reds had lost, we make the playoffs. If the Reds win, there's a 1-game playoff. And that Cincinnati-Milwaukee game that he mentioned got delayed by hours. It was supposed to be a 2:00 game. It didn't start till like 9 o'clock at night because of rain in Milwaukee prior to them having a dome, obviously. And I'll never forget, credit to Mark Chernoff, the old PD here. He aired that game on WFAN. And so I guess I was 16 at the time, as a 16-year-old, I was listening to that game going to sleep because we all wanted to know, what's our future? Are we playing a 163 against Cincinnati, or are we going right to Arizona? Obviously, they won that game. I'm surprised Boone said they were really confident going into it. I figured, because they had collapsed by losing 2 out of 3, and they had to fly back, so we were the more rested team, that maybe there wasn't a confidence, but his confidence was wrong because Al Leiter shoved that day. And Ricky Henderson and Edgardo Alfonso got big hits, and we jumped all over him. And he's right to define it as the Al Leiter game. It was. Al Leiter was brilliant that day, pitched us to the postseason. And, yes, we know the rest. Beat Arizona and then lose the heartbreaker to Atlanta in 1999. So appreciate Aaron Boone joining us. Now is the time. For all of you, and I appreciate you guys who sent emails over the last 2 weeks wanting to enter the first ever Rico Brogna Fantasy League, we ended up receiving over 1,000 entries, which is stupid. And we're going to randomly pick 10 people to join this fantasy league, right? It's a 14-team league. We've got 4 automatics. I'm an automatic. Hoff's an automatic. The person who suggested we do it is an automatic. And yes, Dan, who is a big contributor to the Rico Brogna. Dan is the one. Oh, my God, that bird almost hit you. I do not know if that was in the video shop, but it scared the crap out of me. Dan has contributed a lot, not only to the Rico, but to WFN and Evan and Tiki, sending information and old clips. He even just sent me, like 5 minutes ago, the complete statistics of all the challenges of Met players. So, Dan, you're a good sport, and I want to give you that automatic bid. So we have 10 open spots for this fantasy league. Here's how we're going to do it. Got a lot of suggestions. I created an email folder of all your emails. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to scroll up and down, and we are going to randomly pick 10 names. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. Here we go. I'm closing my eyes. I'm scrolling, and I have just clicked on Andrew Rizzardo. Hi, Evan. Hopefully it's not too late to submit my name to the Rico Lottery. It was on February 23rd. It was not too late. My fantasy team name is Raleigh Durham. It's a play on Cal Raleigh. Plus, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hoping for a great 2026 Mets baseball season. Keep up the great work. Andrew Rizzardo. I just saved it.
Yes.
Entry number 1. All right. Let's go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. All right. I am clicking on Michael Murphy. Congratulations, Michael. Michael writes, hi, my name is Michael Murphy, and I would like to put my name in the hat for the Fantasy Baseball League. My team name is the Dropkick Murphys.
Oh, obvious.
Very nice. I did request, for those that don't remember, you send your name and your fantasy team name. So I'm going to warn you, if I pick someone randomly and you don't include that, I'm not counting you. We got to be tough here. All right.
So we got Raleigh Durham and we got the Dropkick Murphys.
That's right. All right. I'm scrolling up. I'm scrolling down. Let's see who we got. We've got Michael Shulman. Congratulations to Mike. His team name. His team name is New Report or Old Report. Spelled the way Mike would say it. I like that one. How many did we just pick now? 3?
3.
Yeah, I'm going to lose count. So good job there, Hoff. All right, we're scrolling up. We're scrolling down. This is the Evan Roberts, Pete Hoffman, Rico Brogna Fantasy Baseball League. I picked a random email that has nothing to do with fantasy. Feel better, Evan. We all miss you.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Sorry about that. I don't know how that got into the the random folder. Let's see who we got. We've got, oh, my God, I got another one. I got another one that's not fantasy related. I got to try again.
Did you do this word?
I guess I didn't do this well. All right, here we go. Ryan Leno. Team name, Fantasy Maxing. Ryan Leno. Team name,
Was it?
Fantasy Maxing with
Fantasy
2 X's. I don't understand that. What does that mean? Max Scherzer, or is it just maxing like we're...
Max Crosby?
I don't know. Max Crosby.
I think it's 2X.
Yeah, he was traded to the Ravens, by the way. All right, let's pick another random person. We've got... All right, I screwed this up again because it's another non-fantasy one.
Well, what did he say at least?
It was about the ABS. All right, we've got, he didn't, oh yeah, he says his name. It's Angelo Giovanni, who has the name the Rico Brogna as his team name. I got to tell you, Angelo, if I was picking it without it doing random, I would have picked you because I like that name. What are we up to now?
The Rico Brogna?
Yes, he named it the Rico Brogna. How many do we have now?
We have 5. We have 5 more.
All right, 5 more spots. Here we go. I'm going to randomly pick somebody. Steven Pasciuto. Thanks for doing this Fantasy Baseball League with the Rico listeners. Here's my entry. It's the Pettigini's 3 Wishes. Oh, my God, what a nickname. Do you know Pettigini? Steve Pasciuto is referring to Roberto Pettigini. He was a quadruple A player. He played briefly for the Mets, I would say sometime in the mid to late 90s. Left-hand hitting first baseman, and I assume that's he's referring to. Pettigini's 3 Wishes.
All right.
Fantastic.
4 more.
All right, we got 4 more, ladies and gentlemen. We are randomly picking it. We've got ourselves Matt Epple. Matt writes, I'm Matt Epple from Long Island. My fantasy team name is the Senga Genesis.
Ooh.
Oh, man, I'm so glad that Matt won. I got to read the rest of his message because I would have felt bad if Matt didn't win, but I promise you this is all random. Matt writes, I know you guys get a ton of emails. I've mentioned it before. I battled cancer last year, and your podcast really helped distract me from all the problems I was going through. Keep up the good work. Matt, you're a battler, man. What we do is nothing. Keep up the good fight, and I'm glad you made the fantasy league randomly.
Yeah, and keep on coming up with great names. I like that. Senga Genesis.
That is a good one. How many do we have left now?
We have 7. We got 3 more to go.
3 more spots. All right, here we go. Congratulations to Zach Rothfield. Zach's team name is Ass in the Jackpot. You guys are doing great with these team names. I got to tell you. I have to think of a new team name because the team name I always use in fantasy is the Ass Kickers. And that, you know what? I'm not going to do it here. It needs to be better than that. All right, we've got.
Mine's going to be Hoff. Is that all right?
Yeah, if that's what you want. You ready for the next one?
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Randomly, we have Dennis Langella. Hey, Evan and Pete, I'd like to apply to join the Rico Fantasy Baseball League. I'm a loyal listener to the Rico. I am not sure if I missed where you announced the rules for trying to join the league. Can you please let me know? Uh-oh, he didn't include a team name.
No, and Dennis, you're not applying for a job.
I know. I feel bad, Dennis. You needed a team name involved. Should I break the rules and let him join or no?
Well, then you only got one spot left.
Nah, well, this is a tough one. What do I do here? I was pretty firm. You need to have a team name.
Gotta have a team name.
All right, I'm sorry, Dennis. I apologize.
Dennis, you know what we'll do? We'll make sure that you are in one of those like minor leagues.
Yes, you're guaranteed one of the minor leagues. All right. Next up, we've got Connor Martin. Connor writes, good morning, afternoon, or evening. I would love to be in you and Big Hoff's, and whoever idea that was, Fantasy Baseball League. Fantasy baseball is without a doubt my favorite sport. I'm not going to laud you with platitudes and just grease your ego here. However, I do immensely love listening to your opinion, especially your thoughts on baseball. It'd be an honor to join the league as a kid who's grown up hearing you. Connor Martin's team name was It Was Just a Rat. That's the team name. It Was Just a Rat. All right, how many spots do we have left?
One more.
One more?
Unless you want to do 16 teams.
No, we can't do in fantasy. I think 14 is already too much, but I really wanted to be as generous as we could.
Okay. So
ladies and gentlemen, our last random person is Michael Zoe. Michael Zoe, his name is Mikey Zoe, and his team name is Lastings Mikeage. I got to tell you, you guys did great with the fantasy name. So congratulations to everybody we randomly drew. I apologize if you didn't make it. What can I tell you? The odds of winning were very low. So if you did win, congratulations, because the odds were not high. I'm telling you, I think we collected about 1,000 plus emails of people that wanted to join, and we ended up picking 10 people. So you do the math. 1%?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Less than 1%.
Is it 10% or 1%? No, it is 1%. So I appreciate it. What we will do now is we will email you guys the entry to the Fantasy Baseball League. Congratulations, and we'll have a draft at a later date. I don't know if we should do the draft on the Rico. I don't know if that's entertaining or not. So I'll ask the people, if you're not in this league, would you want a live fantasy baseball draft on the Rico Brogna? If not, we won't do it. If you think it could be different and interesting, we would do it. We could talk Mets baseball while we do it. Yeah. So it could be maybe an educational thing for those that are going to be in a fantasy league. So
we could also tape it, and then if it's really bad, never air it.
That's a good point. I'll tell you where I did that real quick before we wrap this up. I've gotten a lot of crap over the years. I know Gio was pissed at me about this years ago. I recorded myself reacting to the Knicks in the lottery the year they were hoping to get Zion Williamson. And I recorded it. I didn't do it live. And it was me being very excited that they lost the lottery. They got the third pick. And I ended up airing it, and it pissed off a lot of Knicks fans. So that is very similar. And by the way, have I not got my comeuppance on that? I mean, gee, you guys are great. The Durant thing failed. I never win the lottery. So to Gio and everyone else that was pissed off about it, you've already won, okay? You've already gotten your blood on that whole thing. Either way, I want to again thank PGA National Resort. I appreciate them having us. Das Beer Garden on Saturday. Apologize for the audio, but if you want to at least try to listen to that one, you can go back and download, check it out. Maybe the audio isn't as bad as some have said. I do appreciate everybody involved. It's been a fun time. All the people we've met over the last couple of days. Great to see you guys. We appreciate your loyal listener-ness, if you will. That's not a word. We will continue to give you Ricos leading right up until opening day. So make sure you subscribe to the Rico Brogna or the WFAN YouTube page, and you will never, ever miss a Rico Brogna. Thanks again. Who else? Anyone else I should thank?
Just PGA National.
PGA National. You're my guys and gals.
Boone, because this was the most fun. This was the funnest podcast we've ever had, right?
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. If that's what you
words.
if that's what you want to say. Thank you to Aaron Boone. Thank you to Carlos Mendoza. I do appreciate David Stearns, even if he doesn't come
Ron
on.
Howard.
Oh yeah, we met Ron Howard. That was cool.
That was amazing.
Big Dodger fan.
Well, yes. That's the only downside.
Well, I'm going to mention it.
But his number 2 team, the Mets.
Yeah, that was a little fugazi, but whatever. Ron's a legend, so what can you say? Thank you very much for listening, downloading, and subscribing to yet another edition of Rico Brogna.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Rico Brogna Podcast. It's amazing, isn't it? Make sure you download it now to keep it on you at all times.